Alright, moving on to comms then. So what we need to do to insert the material in the comms is to use the CFMs. So CFM0 and CFM1 are the bits that are going to be used within this particular one. Start off with a step, then use a module called Control F2, CFM0, hit OK, and then we need to set up number 1 for set, index number number 2, IP address of the second station 192.168, and 20, press OK, create another step, then Control F2 again, the IP table, and again, similar process, set, this time number 3, 192.168, and 30 this time, for the third station. That creates the software that is going to allow you to actually pull the I/O from each of the stations. Now we're going to insert the bit that's actually going to do the send the outputs and receive the inputs for us, which is then Control F2 again. This is going to be the easy I/O, so it's CFM1, and press OK under there. Again, it's another module call window, and the principle behind this is to state under which station you want to talk to, basically, how many words you want to take from it, how many words you want to send to it, and where you want to store it locally within the master PLC. So the first one is we want to talk to station number 2. So that is going to be our pick and place station. How many input words do we want? Well, we want 2 of them, because we want from input 0.0 all the way up to 1.7. So that does inputs on top of the station and also the inputs on the control panel. So we want 2 words every single time we're doing the comm between each of the stations. And because it's station number 2, we're going to store it at location 20. So again, 2 outputs, and we're going to send it from 20.0 to 21.7. We'll send the information out, which will then store it at station number 2, starting from 0.0. Okay. Flag word for status is a default number of 100, and there's nothing else we need to fill in. And what comes up here, depending on your software version, is this FU32. They're just error commands. You don't really need to worry about them, but it does populate them automatically for you. In some of the other ones, it might ask you for FU32 up to like 37. For whatever reasons behind the software, you can actually just wipe them out. It still works. Fine, you can leave them in there. You can then do another step, because you still need to communicate with the third one, and that, apologies, that from there would have been your step loop. So CFM1, second step here is then, again, Control F2 for easy I/O, press OK. And very similar process as before, except we're now communicating with the third station rather than the second. So it's index number 3, number of input words still 20, this time 30. Still want to send 2 output words. I want to send them from output number 30.0 to 31.5. So that's 2 output words starting from number 30. And again, flag word for status 100 is the default number. And press OK. And it carries out that procedure for you. And the last thing you need to do is set F1.0. If you remember, that was the one we used in P0, which told us that our comms work. So basically, if your program is able to get through these 4 steps and get to this point to turn on that, your comms are working as far as reason happy. Okay. And then jump to loop. And then that means these 2 sections here will continue to loop over and over and over again until you come to the end. Okay. Because what happens is, although you set the IP table at the top section, both here and also in this position, that only needs to be carried out once. Reading the inputs and outputs needs to happen constantly, because the inputs and outputs can change from second to second level. If you ask for the inputs and send the outputs at one moment in time, 3 seconds later the call will change. So you obviously need to keep updating the tables each time. So the inputs that you see on your master controller are constantly being updated, all the hundreds of possibly thousands of times a second. P1 runs constantly, yep, that's right. Your P1 in this case will carry all 4 steps for the first time, and then will constantly loop just the bottom 2 steps over and over again. Right. So if we look back to P0, we'll read this through now. So the first step there. What's it doing? CFM9. Yep. So it reset wipes our PLC basically of all the main important data that we want to be back to basically factory settings. Step 2 then turns on P1. P1 is the program that controls the com. So that's the one we just had written there, which is, very quickly, which is this one. It's all the V numbers, values. Right. It runs once and keeps running between the bottom 2 steps, which means if we get this F1.0, which is at the bottom of P1, so comms runs once, turns on the flag comms, activates this step here I have highlighted, which then allows us to set P2. Okay. So P2 will now become active at this point. Currently we have nothing on it, which is empty. And what we want to do in here is to move the stations, each of the 3 of them, to the initial positions that the coursework tells us that they must be in. Right. So station 2 and station 3 are a little bit easier to do because a lot of their valves are spring return valves. So as soon as they're fired up anyway, they're tracked back to what is deemed to be their safe position, which is fine. Now the coursework might tell you to put them out anyway in a different position to how they would be when you first fire them up. But this is the area you do them in. So the basic principle to start off with here is to turn on the reset lamp. Not on one of them, but on all 3 stations. So to do that, then set underscore P 2H, set underscore P2 PP, set underscore P2S. So what I've done there, the very first thing that happens after P01 obviously worked, is you go in and you tell underscore P2H, P2PP and P2S, which is the reset lamp on each of the stations to turn off. So at that stage, all 3 reset lamps will come on the control panel. The next feature is you should then, on any of them, press the reset button. You need to see if you get the reset button pressed. So you remember what the reset button is, the shorthand version for it? S4. So S4 and then X for handling, or S4 PP or S4S. Then, well, it's up to you what sequence you do it in, but there's certain things you might need to move first. For instance, well, it may not actually be a case of clash here, but if there's any parts that could crash into each other on the station, you need to make sure you move them first out of the way. So the gripper unit shouldn't really be an issue here because it can't go far enough right to interfere with the pick and place arm. And the same, the pick and place arm, because it's using spring return valve, it won't be down and crashing into the conveyor, for instance. We're not really in too big of a problem what sequence to do it in. So we'll just take it nice and easy. We'll just go from left to right. We'll sort each station as it comes. So on your coursework, when you're handed this out, you're going to be given a position basically for each of the stations, what they should be sitting in, which is deemed their initial position. And this is when you're going to do it. Under the reset sequence is when you set this up. Okay. So let's say for instance the handling station, we'll talk through that from now and we'll try and get a type of answer for what it might look like. So we're going to say that the handling station needs to be at the pickup position, which is just above the magazine, with the gripper up and the gripper open. Okay, that might be its starting position, for instance. So the very first thing we need to do, well, we consider what would happen when it's powered on. So we have a spring return valve that does the gripper up and down. We also have a spring return valve for the open gripper, and the linear actuation is done by a double action motor. So you can obviously turn it both ways. So when you first power up, you should realize that it's basically, well, you can see this in the left and back, but it will be pretty much as it's sitting now. The gripper will be up, the gripper will be closed, I think in this case, because of the way the spring valve works. And the handler station, the left and right and the linear side of things will just be whatever it happens to be last sitting at. It doesn't move to any one particular position. So the very first thing we need to do is, well, we don't really know where our starting position is for the left or right part of the gripper. So we need to set it to a certain position. Now, the problem is, it might be, for instance, it could be halfway along. It could be to the far right. It could be where it is now, which is almost the far left. Right? So we can't take it as a rule of thumb that we just send it left. Right? Because if it's already further beyond our left-hand position sensor and we send it left, I just drive into the mechanical shop and keep trying to drive. So what we need to do is we need to send it all the way right first. So then set GR, so the gripper goes right. And then we need to ask when it arrives there. So if POS 3H, then reset GR. So in those couple of statements there, what we've done is we've turned on the lights, all the reset lamps. If any one of the reset lamps, or buttons rather I should say, has been pressed, we send the gripper unit to the right. When it arrives at the far right hand position, we then turn it off, and then what we want to do is we want to send it back again to the home position. Right, that guarantees that it's going to be in the home position. No. You press any one of the reset buttons and it will reset the entirety of the 3 sections. Yeah. This is what we're developing now. Yeah. MVP. Position 3 is at the mechanical end stop. It can't go any further. Yeah, I know what you mean, Clark, there, that more repeating your questions from the video here. To be able to differentiate which part of this, what could be a long program, is doing which bit. See the bit I've done here so far, at the very top, this comment, this, what do you call it, quotation marks, reset sequence. What we can do then is what I do quite often for long programs is just do a big squiggle like that, right? And then it makes a visual break for you. Now, it does nothing to the program, it still just goes from top to bottom, but it gives you visually a point of break to know the top bit, right, that must be the handling station. There's the next bit I see in the program, that's the second place. There's the third bit I see down the bottom, that's the sorting station. Yeah, you could do that. There's no need because it doesn't need to ever jump to it. It's only ever going to go from top to bottom. But for you to see, yeah, you could. Or you could just put in obviously a comment of second place reset starts here, for instance. And you do, just to make it visually, look at that. Well, the first one here that I'm doing is the handling station. So I would obviously need to put one of those in there, which would be handling station. That. So it doesn't matter which one you press, it's still going to carry out the same procedure. It's still going to do the reset of the handling station first, then it'll do the pick and place, then it'll do the floating. So you could do something like that. It's very visually striking, obviously, in the middle of a lot of text. Anyway, reset GR. The next thing I want to send it left, but what we have discovered from doing this previously is if you send it all the way right, stop and send it left straight away without a break, it doesn't really cost you much of an issue, it's more just stress in the system. It has a shudder as it does that because it's going right, stop, dead, and driven all the way. So what I want you to do is when you do a complete turn like that, put a short delay in. So set T, what number should we use? 2. Why? We're in program 2. It saves any issues of getting mixed up between timers. So set T2, and it prompts you here, as you can see, what is T2? I think it's really obvious what T2 is, so I don't ever put one in. Set T2 with, half a second would be enough, not 0.5 seconds. And then put in another step. Inquire to when it's finished. If not T2, then set GL. So the gripper now goes left. And then I need to inquire when it has arrived at that position. So if POS 1H, so that's the pickup position, then reset. And that there effectively will be the handling station in its initial position. So you run through P0 and P1, that starts your comms, that's fine. And then when the comms is up and running, you start P2. And the first thing that happens is you turn on the 3 reset lamps. At any point, if you press any one of the 3 reset buttons, it sends the gripper to the right. When the gripper is in the right hand position, it stops, it delays for half a second, and then it's then going left. When it arrives at the left position, which is the one just above the magazine, it then resets to gripper left. And that will be the handling station in its proper position. Yep. Yeah. So the question there is if the handling station isn't on a sensor when you first fire up, basically, yeah. So it could be halfway along. Well, we don't require a sensor. If you look here, we have if any one of the 3 reset buttons is pressed, we just send it right, no matter what position it's in. So we don't ask if it's in position 1, 2, or 3. It could be in position 1 already. We don't care. You could write a program to shorten that sequence. So I don't want to confuse you too much. Right? You could create an OR program basically saying if it's in position 1, then you do nothing, and you can jump to the pick and place session to do it. But it's a lot easier if you just, no matter what, send it right, stop it at the right position, send it back left, and stop it at the pickup position. Right, so no matter where the handling station is on that linear axis, when you press the button for the reset, it sends it right. Is that okay? Right. So the question was, what's happening basically with this not T2 set GL? Why is that happening and what not T2 is here? Okay. So you understand that the gripper is going right at this point, and when it arrives at the right hand position, which is POS to the H, it resets it going any further right, so it turns off right. You then set a timer, so set T2 with 0.5s. That's a timer for half a second. If not, P2 basically asks when the timer's finished. So when the timer's finished, set going left again. So you've set it all the way right, you stop, you delay half a second, and you send it back left. And then when it is in that position, PLS1, reset to go to left. So actually stop. Okay. Any other questions about what's happened so far? No? Right. So, I'm not going to type out the rest of it. That's not even the full answer for the handling station setup anyway, because that's not the initial position of the push gas. Anyway, in here, under pick and place, you obviously start typing, so that would be the pick and place reset sequence. And then you're also going to have, if you so wish to carry on doing that sort of thing there, you can then have the sorting reset starts there. And in that position, sorting sequence. And you type all that in there. So once you get to the bottom of P2, your entire station, all three of them as such, should be in their initial positions as denoted by the click. Okay, by the time you get to the end of P2. You can't, your initial position will be at one of the three positions. Okay, so that's P2. Now you're remembering back to P0. First thing that happens, you turn on CFM9, wipes all the registers, counters, timers, and flags. You turn on the comms. Comms does what looks to be an incredibly complex system of setting IP tables and asking for inputs and sending outputs. And once it runs at least once, the flag 1.0 is turned on, which allows P2 to start. Because P2 is the first time we communicate between the three sections, so we need to make sure that our comms is actually working. So we've just shown you P2, and once we get to the end of P2, so we're now happy that the three sections are in their initial position. Once P2 finishes, as in if not P2, it then turns on P3 automatically for us. And P3 is the starting position. So that P3 here will be the starting sequence. Now, you don't see this yet until the pushwork's fully handed out, but there is a set sequence that should happen with the control panel. It's usually something very trivial just to test your programming, like turning the key switch on number 1 to manual, turn the third one to automatic, press the start button there, when something flashes, time delay happens, you press a different start button, you turn the key switch again, you press the start a third time. It's just something random I make up to make you program at a certain position, as if you're pressing a different button to actually get the machine to start up properly. So all you've done so far is set up the comms, you then set the position of the machine in the correct position, and then thirdly you're going to make it actually start and boot up, and that's all done in there. And I'm not really going to step through any sort of possibilities. I'll show you like one wee bit here. So it could be that once it's in its initial position, you maybe want to, for instance, then set underscore P1H, set underscore P1 PP, set underscore P1 S. So what does that do? Yeah, it turns on all our start maps. So it basically indicates that, well, if all three are on, it'll probably indicate that you just press any one of them. Okay? So your next step might be what? Yeah, you might press any one. So F, S1, H, or S1 PP, or S1 S. So if you press any one of them, then, you know, well, you carry on and do a sequence of events. I'm not going to go too much further. That's more things for you to create. Okay, but once you get far enough down here, so sequence finished, what do we need to do? once the sequence of starting up is finished, yeah, you need to start our main program. So we need to, under the particular step near the bottom, set P10, set P20, set P30. So once I run through the reset sequence and the machines are in the proper position, I start P3. P3 makes us do basically a trivial button press and then key turning just to make it do something, which then allows the machine to properly start. And then at the end of P3, we turn on P10, P20, and P30, which is the main bit that the program is stored in. P10 stores the main sequence for the handling station. P20 stores the main sequence for the pick and place, and so on. And then each of those will run concurrently to operate the machine at one time. No, no. You wouldn't set it straight after start switch is pressed because that isn't what our starting sequence is. The starting sequence will be defined once you get the force switch. So it's a certain amount of key turning and button pressing, just to basically make you do something in the program is what it's really for. But you don't want the three programs that control the main sequence to run until it's fully started. Otherwise, when you press start, you're maybe trying to do other things, the machine's trying to run at the same time. Okay? So I'll give you time now to go and develop that